Hello, Mustang basketball fans, and welcome to this week's edition of Mustang Basketball with Brad Bigler. I'm your host, Kelly Loft. Thanks for joining us here at Studio One, Marshall, local cable access, and online at smsumustangs.com. We'll look back at this past weekend's games at the RA facility. The Mustangs lose to St. Cloud State on Friday night, but rebound with a convincing Hawaiian night victory over Minnesota Duluth. We'll talk about both those games, take a look at the highlights, and preview this weekend's road trip up north to Bemidji and Crookston, Minnesota. And joining us, as always, is the head coach, Brad Bigler. And Coach, a tough night on Friday as the Mustangs' streak of losing games here in the month of January continued. But guys really battled back and got a big win against Minnesota Duluth. And just now we can move past that streak and get a winning streak going now for the Mustangs.
And after the game versus Duluth, it felt good. I think it lifted a lot of pressure off the guys, and we'll see what that does. You still have to come ready to work this week and practice. I thought yesterday was a great day of working out. The guys competed, and now you have to continue to build off of the little successes when they happen.
Against St. Cloud State on Friday night, Mustangs lose 76-55, come back and beat Minnesota Duluth 78-59. Looking back at the Friday game, Coach, we probably don't want to talk too much about that, but just some of the numbers, shooting-wise, season low, first half scoring at 21 points, you shoot 33%, and probably the telling number for you is just the free throws, 7 of 17, and some turnovers as well. It was overall just a game you want to forget about, but I suppose still, hey guys, we can't just forget about playing that type of game, because if we do that in the conference, we're going to lose every time.
Well, I think you learned right away that you have to be passionate about every time you step on the floor. And we were flat on Friday night. St. Cloud State took advantage of it. I think there's a lot of schematic things that we could have done a lot better. We maybe tried to do a little bit too much at times, and maybe that took away a little bit of the aggressiveness from our guys, but learned from it, came back on Saturday morning, had a pretty good heart-to-heart as a team, and was able to voice their opinions and really get some things out there. And it's kind of one of those moments that Saturday after the meeting, from the coach's perspective, we were ready to go on Saturday night. We felt that the guys were going to respond just because they've been good all year with leadership, with staying together, and it really felt like, all right, we're going to get one tonight. And as we started the game, the communication was a lot better. The energy, the bench, everything just kind of, all those little things just added up. And it was a pretty good performance on Saturday night.
Yeah, that's one thing. Some of the things you can't teach, and that is that energy and just bringing it. And you're right, it just seems Saturday, obviously it was a great crowd and whatnot, and you can help feed off that as well, but that's not going to make you play better defense or make some shots as well. But the guys just seem to have had more passion out there, and if you can bottle that up and take it each game, it's really going to make a difference down here in the final month.
And those hustle plays make such a difference. I thought on Saturday, guys were diving on the floor, taking charges. There's just a lot of more of those types of plays which provide you energy, which give you momentum, and those are winning basketball plays, and that's what you have to do.
Well, of course, we mentioned on Friday night, Mustangs shoot just 38% from the field, 7 of 17 from the free throw line, but unfortunately 16 turnovers, 6 assists. But the next night, the Mustangs 16 assists, 4 turnovers, and giving up just 4 points, 4 turnovers, a huge difference, those extra possessions, and that's why you got a 20-point win.
And I thought over the last 4 to 6 games, we're rebounding so much better too. And this weekend, I thought we rebounded well. Guys are just making plays, getting tips on balls, and that's keeping those offensive rebounds active. Sometimes you don't get the ball, but you just get a tip on it. Then all of a sudden, a guy comes flying in and makes a play. And and that's right now. We're just really focusing on ourselves as we go down this stretch. Continue to get better, all those cliches, but really our energy, our focus, our commitment to each other, that's where we're at right now.
And I'm sure it's going to take a while. We've had 4 games now since Drew Osmondson went down with an injury, but guys kind of getting used to these new roles, because those first 2 months of the season, you kind of had that rotation down. Nate Hewitt didn't play early on the first few games because of football. Get him into the mix, and then you have an injury, and now you got to switch it again. And you made some adjustments on Saturday, but you're probably getting it down now to that to the rotation that you want with the Iron 8.
Well, with the Iron 8, the rotations are good. Yeah, I mean, with Drew going down, it takes a guy off the floor who can get paint touches by driving and attacking and getting other guys open shots. Yeah, so other guys have to be able to step up and do that. I think Nathaniel Hewitt has come off the bench and received a few more minutes. I think Travis Miners, as we'll see on the video, has really stepped up last weekend. And so other guys will have to step up to be those playmakers, be those primary ball handlers at times. And they have the talent to do it. So now it's a matter of coming out and just playing with that confidence.
Well, then Saturday night's game, freshman Carter Kirk came off the bench. 8 of 10 from the field. He had 17 points, had 3 steals, and going against one of the premier players in the conference, Brett Urban, who was right up there in scoring-wise in the conference, but he was held in check to 9 points, 3 of 8 shooting, and not only Carter, but entirely a very good team effort to stop one of the best players in the conference.
And it was. It's obviously in the game plan early to try to get the ball out of his hands. We doubled him on the catch. He got rid of it, and fortunately for us, some guys early on were maybe missing some shots or they weren't taking advantage of it, and we were able to get some momentum. I do think they had another young man to step up and hit 4 or 5 threes, especially in the second half. He really he got hot. So that's one of those things from the defensive perspective. You have to pick your poison. Who are you going to stop? You can't stop everything. And fortunately for us, we were able to contain Irvin that night.
Another big night for MJ Delmore. He had 16 points, perfect 4 of 4 from three-point range, 6 of 7 from the field, and more importantly, in 26 minutes, had just 1 turnover, and really adds a lot when he can distribute the basketball, but also make shots as well. And he's just a tough guard. The entire team is when MJ is making some shots.
Yeah, on Saturday, I think that's the biggest thing. With MJ and Carter both kind of being challenged a little bit, challenge in a way of, hey, you need to go. You need to play with that confidence that you played with your whole entire life. You need to maybe take some chances a little bit. You need to be aggressive on the offensive end, and both of them responded. When MJ knocks down those shots, I mean, that really just brings another element to our offense. And he was good, as well as Carter, and we'll see on the video here soon.
Well, we're going to see those great highlights from the Minnesota-Duluth game shortly, but right now let's take a look at Friday night's highlights from the RA facility against St. Cloud State University. Again, the Mustangs falling to the Huskies by a score of 76-55. And we open up here with MJ Delmore hitting a 3 early in the first half.
And we'll see MJ coming down, finding Carter, and Carter with a great physical finish underneath.
Cole Martin had a 3-pointer. He had 5 in the game, and here's one of them, bottom of your screen.
And St. Cloud, I have to give them credit. I thought they changed up their defenses. They kind of kept us off balance. They were going under on a lot of screens, and they were making us shoot those early jumpers. And we weren't in a rhythm most of the night.
Big 3 by Turner Moen. Nobody really guarded him. He popped the 3 and hit it. You see Cole Martin. And then Joey Bartlett struggled on the night, just 1 of 12 from the field, but this is the 1 basket.
Good take. Yeah, Joey, he did have a little bit of an off night. I thought he responded the following night. Was really unselfish on Saturday, which sometimes the best players, you have to, like Irvin, a little bit on Saturday. I mean, sometimes it's not going to be your night. You have to find a way to impact the game in other ways.
Final 2 highlights. There's Carter Kirk with the layup from assist from MJ, and here's the last highlight of this game. And Carter Kirk with the with the basket there. Carter on the night, career high 14 rebounds, 9 points, but just 1 Mustang in double figures, and that was Cole Martin with 20. And we saw glimpses of that night, Coach, when Cole's on, he can make some tough hits. 5 of 9 from long range, 6 of 12 from the field, and if he gets both ends of the floor going, he really can make things happen.
And he's been good filling up the stat sheet all year long. I mean, I think all the Mustang fans, I hear so many comments of him chasing down guys and coming with that block shot in transition. He's really done a great job with that. He's rebounding the ball exceptionally well for a guard, and he's just one of those guys who, when he's playing at a high level, he really is a key factor to our team.
So the Mustangs, though, struggled that game against St. Cloud State, but as we mentioned, bounced back the next day and beat Minnesota Duluth 78-59. And, obviously the 78's a nice number to have scoring-wise, but got to be more impressive, Coach. 59 points for UMD. We've given up some points in the last month during that losing streak, but a pretty good defensive effort and forcing UMD into 14 turnovers.
Yeah, I would say we gave up a lot of points in that last losing streak. It's something that we're not a bad defensive team in spurts. Throughout the game, the entire game, it's just in spurts we have really bad spurts where we maybe have turnovers to touchdowns, we give them some offensive rebounds, and it just all happens in about a 5-6 possession, and that's where teams are making runs on us. And so it was nice to see on Saturday us not having those consecutive bad possessions.
Well, let's take a look at the highlights from the ball game against Minnesota Duluth, Hawaiian night at the RA facility. The Mustangs and the Bulldogs, Southwest. Here in this first half, we mentioned Cole Martin, another solid night. He had 16 points there with a basket in the paint. And then Travis Miners here we're talking about. Great action at the rim all night long.
And we started, when we gave our seniors, after that meeting on Saturday morning, we gave our seniors an opportunity to both start. So Travis started his first game of the year. We wanted them to lead by example. As you saw in those clips earlier, those were the first two guys that scored buckets, and both of them had great energy on both ends throughout the night.
Friday night Mustangs had 22 points in the paint. They had 44 in this game, and you can see why the high percentage of baskets right inside 10 feet.
And that's a pretty impressive move right there by Carter Kirk. Again, Duluth early in the game was not double in the post. We felt, let's give Carter a chance. And especially when Irvin picked up a foul, we wanted to make him defend, and Carter took advantage of those opportunities.
Bartlett, the baseline drive and dunk, and now MJ with a crafty spin for two. Delmore, 16 points, 6 of 7 from the field, and nice take, dish, layup Mustangs to Carter Kirk. And then Mitch Wegg doing what he does best, cleaning up the glass.
And that's the Mitch we know and love, and the guy that can get the crowd going, and again, just those little energy plays are key.
Big three for the Mustangs. Delmore connects Southwest 8 of 16 from long range. And here's Miners again, dribble drive, and drawing a double team, finds Kirk and one.
It's nice to see our entire team. I mean, I think this is probably the play of the weekend. Carter with the block will come down in transition and move that ball around. Travis burying a three in front of the bench, and as you see, the bench is going crazy, as they always do. And again, I think throughout the weekend or throughout the night on Saturday, it was nice to see our guys celebrate those little things with each other, taking pride in successes of your teammates. Sometimes that's a hard thing to do, but this group is a great team, and as we finish, they'll be a tough team to beat.
I saw Carter Kirk, great recognition to find the open man. A lot of his moves here, the last couple of highlights against Brett Irvin, a preseason Player of the Year candidate, number 44. Now you see Minders getting the ball to Mitch Wegg. He'll drive with the left hand. Here's a nice lob and end out here to Carter Kirk.
And I think you're seeing Carter just affected the game in so many ways. Scoring, yes, one-on-one, but you see here getting an offensive rebound and a little lob off a baseline end out, block shots. I mean, he just had a pretty complete game.
5 Mustangs in double-figure scoring. Kirk 17, Delmore 16, Martin was 16, and Wegg and Minders 11 and 10 respectively. Hewitt finding Wegg, cutting to the basket, great extra pass. Martin with the three. And we'll finish it off here with the steal and the dunk for Cole Martin as the Mustangs get the victory 78-59 over UMD. The Mustangs now 10 and 12 overall and 6 and 10 in the conference. And more importantly, Coach, we've got 6 games left in the regular season, and trying to claw back to 500, and you can only do that by just taking it to the next game. And Bemidji State, a team that had a similar streak to the Mustangs here this month, would pick up a big road win and going on the road now against Bemidji State and Minnesota Crookston. And the first chore is BSU, and they've got one of the best players, best scorers in this conference in Brock Lutz.
And they've been a team that's had our number. I think they've beat us
5 or 6 straight now.
Yeah, I mean they've beat us, and for whatever that it means, we only play them once a year, but on that particular night, they've been the better team throughout the last couple of years, and so it'll be important for our guys to come ready to play. Yes, Brock Lutz is a scary scorer, but Coach Boshi does a great job of game planning, and as you saw versus Upper Iowa last weekend, they put together a pretty nice win on the road in Fayette. So they'll be a tough team to play. Again, they're a team that has some new guys, new faces, some young guys are having to step up into new roles, and they're going to just be a team that we're going to have to play some good basketball to beat.
And on Saturday night, Minnesota Crookston have a new coach this season, and they've struggled here in the month of January into February, but a team that's really surprised some people in this conference. They've got some new players, and it's got new blood in that program, and they're going to be a challenge on Saturday as well. And obviously we can't look past anybody at this point of the season.
Well, the coach is from Wisconsin, so they're running some of that swing offense. They're throwing some new stuff, and I think he's really has them playing hard and playing together. And I think from a recruiting standpoint, they're really working on the recruiting things. It sounds like they're bringing in some more players coming in the future. So Coach is doing the right things. And this year, they're very competitive. They are definitely in most ball games, and a team that, again, you can't look past.
Again, the Mustangs play at Bemidji State on Friday, February 6th, and then at Minnesota Crookston on Saturday. And the following weekend, the Mustangs maintain their road trip. They'll play at Augustana and at Wayne State before coming home last regular season weekend at the RA facility against Concordia St. Paul and Minnesota State. So still a lot of big basketball games left as the Mustangs make a push to try to get that home game in the NSIC tournament coming up later on this month. So that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of Mustang Basketball with Brad Bigler. For the head coach, I'm Kelly Law. Thanks for watching this week's episode. Until next time, go Mustangs!